welcome to the channel. So for today's video, I have the newest release from ILNP. This is their second spring collection of the year, and it is called Wildflowers. What makes this collection particularly exciting, to me at least, is that there are two polishes in this collection that have a very similar formulation to the fan favorite polish Fairy Dust. The Wildflowers collection is inspired by all things wildflowers, surprise, surprise, and there are 6 polishes total with a variety of different kinds of shimmery finishes. If you are new to the brand, ILNP is a US-based boutique brand. Their polishes are 7-free, cruelty-free, as well as being vegan-friendly. The Wildflowers collection launches this Friday, April 26th on the ILNP website. ILNP ships to a variety of countries from the US, and they do also have free shipping thresholds. The Wildflowers collection was sent to me by the brand in PR. This video is not sponsored, and thank you very much to ILNP for sending these over to me. As always, down in the description box, I'll have links to where you can pick these polishes up, links to the ILNP social media pages, my social media pages, plus my blog posts, and most importantly, timestamps. All of my thoughts and opinions are at the end of the video. Let's just get into this one. First up, we have Petals, which ILNP describes as a vivid magenta blooming with a pink to orange shimmer. Petals had a fantastic formula. This one is in a jelly base, but it is also one of the more opaque jellies in this entire release. My full hand swatches will show Petals in 3 coats plus glossy top coat, but I'll only be doing 2 coats here for the live swatch. The difference between 2 coats and 3 coats is honestly kind of negligible. The only reason I did 3 coats is because I was kind of curious to see how much that would cover up my visible nail line. I did have a little bit of VNL with this one, but I think it honestly wasn't that bad at all. The shimmer in here is absolutely gorgeous. It's a little bit larger in particle size, so you don't get any brush strokes with it. Largely, the color that you will see on your nails with this one is going to be the pink in the shimmer. You're going to see that orangey yellow kind of tone coming in at more extreme angles. That is Petals in 3 coats plus glossy top coat. Again, this is a 2 to 3 coater depending on personal preference. Removal is going to be very easy but messy, and I had no issues with staining. Next up, we have Melody, which is described as being a fiery orange enhanced by an intense orange to green shimmer. Melody also had a fantastic formula. The base did not feel overly thick or thin, and I had 0 application issues. Melody is a little bit less opaque than Petals was, so you do need to build this one up to really get some nice coverage going. I wouldn't go so far as to say that it's patchy in 2 coats, but coverage wasn't quite even enough for me personally to be able to call this one a solid 2-coater. For a polish that officially is being described as a fiery orange, I really thought that this was a red the entire time I swatched it, as well as when I had it on. I suppose this is one of those situations where is the polish an orange leaning red or a red leaning orange? Personally, I would go with an orange leaning red. Usually colors like this play havoc with my undertones a little bit. It gives me kind of a lobster hands kind of situation, but I did not find that to be the case with this one at all. The shimmer in here is super strong and super glowy. Largely the color you see on your nails is going to be an orange to a yellow. I felt like I could see a tiny hint of green at incredibly extreme angles, but it happens so faintly that I wouldn't go so far as to say you're going to see like a really strong green color shift on your nails. I did have some visible nail line with this one, but I don't think it was too bad as far as VNL goes. Removal is going to be very easy with this one. I did not personally experience any staining with it, but as always, I recommend wearing base coat anyway. This next polish is called Willow, and ILNP describes it as a lively lime green with a matching lime green shimmer. As someone who has been ranting about the difference between lime green and chartreuse for a couple of months now, I'm really happy that, like, yes, I can say that this is the color of a lime.
It's about damn time.
Willow had a fantastic formula. The base did not feel overly thick or thin, and it applied so nicely. This is another one that's in a more jelly-like base, so you do need to build it up to gain the opacity. However, I do think this one is going to be a 2 to 3 coater depending on thickness of coats. I feel like if I went back to wear this one for personal wear, probably would stop in 2 coats. My only disappointment with this polish was I, for whatever reason, was really hoping that this was going to be a prugly color, and I feel like it's a little bit too pretty to be called a prugly. The shimmer in here is absolutely beautiful. I found to my eye this looks more of like a golden greenish shimmer versus a lime green. I dare even say that the shimmer is a little chartreuse leaning. This is in a jelly base, so I did have some visible nail line with this one after 3 coats. The thing in here is going to dry down textured. Removal will be very easy, but the shimmer will just leave particles all over your fingers. I did not personally experience any staining, but I usually find greens like this tend to be stainers for me. This next polish is called Bluebell, and ILNP describes it as a sky blue jelly with an illuminating orange to green shimmer as well as holographic sparkle. Bluebell is the first of the two polishes that are similar to fairy dust. Bluebell had a fantastic formula. The base did not feel overly thick or thin, and I had zero application issues. As you're seeing here, this is a very sheer polish. Based on the promo image that I was sent for this release, I was concerned it was going to be like a little bit too sheer, so I was really pleasantly surprised that this built up very, very nicely. However, even when built up in 3 coats, you will still have very obvious visible nail line. Because of how shimmers work in bright direct lighting, that visible nail line is going to be even more obvious. I don't personally mind the visible nail line in this one. I feel like a polish like this is how I got into liking visible nail line. The shimmer is absolutely gorgeous. The holographic is absolutely gorgeous. It's beautiful. Totally worth having a little bit of nail peeking through. I found the shimmer colors in here to be a reddish orange to yellow with green coming in at more extreme angles. You get a lot of color shifty goodness out of this polish. My full hand swatches show Bluebell in 3 coats plus glossy top coat. The holographic in here is not a glitter, so it does not dry down super gritty at all. 1 coat of top coat, you're smooth and ready to go. Removal for this one is not going to be overly difficult. I still would not recommend scrubbing this polish off. It's just going to be such a mess. Use the soak off method. This next polish is called Songbird, and ILNP describes it as a vivid cobalt blue jelly base sprinkled with holographic flakes. Songbird also had a fantastic formula, surprise, surprise. On that first coat, the base was a little bit uneven, not terribly so, but what I expected it to be. Applied very smoothly and very evenly. Coverage is pretty decent in 2 coats. I think if you have very short nails without much of a free edge, you could potentially get away with 2 coats. My main reasoning for doing a 3rd coat for this one was largely because to get the same depth of color that you see in the bottle, that 3rd coat kind of is needed unless you use really, really thick coats. There are few colors that bring me more happiness than a cobalt blue, so I was incredibly happy to see this polish being in this release. And I know this is technically a spring collection, but I feel like the level of saturation in this polish as well as the other ones are just bright and saturated enough to really give me summertime vibes. I'm really sorry it was so overcast when I was watching these because you're really not getting really good sunshine shots, but the holographic in here is super, super pretty. While coverage was really fantastic with this polish, I did still have some visible nail line with it. Visible nail line sends you into this kind of rage. You might want to skip this one because you will still be able to see your nail line even after 3 coats. I don't personally think it's that serious, but I know some of y'all haven't converted over yet. And that is Songbird in 3 coats plus a glossy top coat. Removal is not going to be overly difficult at all because these are holographic flakes and not glitters. I still wouldn't recommend scrubbing it off, largely because this is a very saturated pigmented base, and then the holographic flakes are just going to make a gigantic mess. Please use the soak off method. I did not personally experience any staining, by the way, with this one. And the final polish in this release is called Flower Child, which is described as being a sheer, soft pink jelly base with a radiant blue shimmer as well as holographic sparkle. And this is the second polish in the release that has a similar formulation to fairy dust. Flower Child also had a really great formula. This is going to be another fairly sheer polish. For my full hand swatches and here in the live swatch, I'm showing it in 3 coats. However, I was in love.
So good, it is so good.
With this polish in 2 coats, I really didn't want to do a 3rd coat. I only did a 3rd coat to try to see how opaque it would get. The shimmer does add a lot to the opacity level, but you don't really reach full coverage with it. And yes, this is the nail polish that I was wearing in the last video. I was kind of hoping nobody would notice, but apparently y'all noticed. Usually I want a lot of color shifty goodness out of my shimmers, but I was really happy with this just being a blue shimmer in a pink base. You do get a look on the nail that looks like you're getting a blue to purple color shift, but I think that's just having a blue shimmer in a pink base. The holographic in here is absolutely gorgeous. It does not dry down textured like a glitter. These are flakes. So while they won't make removal difficult, they will make removal very messy. I will once again highly recommend the soak off method versus scrubbing this one off. I don't have the most extensive ILNP collection ever, but I did want to compare these new polishes that are kind of similar to fairy dust as well as Pixie Party. Bluebell shimmer is kind of similar to fairy dust, but I don't think it's the exact same shimmer, and also I don't know why I decided to wiggle the bottles around like that. Don't ask why, because I don't know either. And since I've never shared ILNP on the channel before, I did also want to share that these do come in a really nice box. And all orders also come with these holographic stickers. And yes, they do fit on the front of a Helmer. Alrighty, so final thoughts. So if you follow me on my other social media, you probably saw me wearing ILNP's Fairy Dust a few weeks ago. Honestly, I feel like if you spend any amount of time across social media pages and you're into nails, you probably have seen a lot of people hyping that polish up. Gotta say, Yeah, it's worth the hype. It's really gorgeous. And I honestly wish that I had purchased that one a lot sooner because like I was in love with that polish. So when ILNP sent over the information for the new Wildflowers collection and I saw that there were going to be two polishes that are very similar to Fairy Dust, I was really excited. I had such a strong feeling that those two polishes were going to be my favorites from this release. However, while they were my favorites, I will say the entire collection was phenomenal. Other than me wearing Fairy Dust recently, I feel like it's been a long time since I picked up one of ILNP's shimmer polishes, and I forgot how beautiful they are, honestly. I think the majority of my ILNP collection that I've purchased has been their holographics and their multi-chromes, but I remember rocking Rosewater for quite a while back in the day too. I thought this was a fantastic release. All the formulas were fantastic. The polishes looked really great as well. And I was also really happy that even though this is part of their spring release lineup, I think all the colors were really vibrant and they all had enough saturation that like my general tiredness of spring pastels.
I'm tired of this, Grandpa.
That's too damn bad! You keep digging!
I did not get like triggered from them being too light. So I'm having a hard time trying to decide which polishes are going to be my top picks because I feel like if I was picking up this release, I probably would have definitely gotten 4 out of the 6. So Songbird is definitely up there because I love me a cobalt blue. It's one of my favorite shades of blue. But Bluebell and Flower Child, yeah, every time we have a video that features shimmers and holographics, you all hear me say this every single time. I really feel like shimmer plus holographic is such a superior formulation because it looks amazing in every source of light. Like the holographic looks really great in bright dark lighting, then the shimmer looks fantastic in lower lighting. Like there's no lighting that I've ever come across that a shimmer and a holographic finish does not look good in, and I really feel like it's just a superior formula. I'm also gonna throw in Willow as being a top pick only because I'm still on my green kick. Initially I thought it was gonna be a little bit uglier, so like I almost would say I'm a little disappointed it wasn't more ugly because like it's a beautiful color, but like I was hoping it would be like prugly ugly, if you know what I mean.
Huh? What? Oh. Okay.
As far as pricing and sale information goes, these will all be available starting on April 26th, which is this Friday. Usually they have 10% off on the listings for the first couple of days of it being available. ILNP polishes are generally priced between $10 to $12 a bottle. This release is not limited edition. ILNP does a fantastic job of keeping things in stock. That is probably one of my favorite things about brands like this, that you don't have to feel rushed to grab things. ILNP also sent me over their base coat, top coat, as well as their new matte top coat. I have been playing around those for about a month-ish now. In general, just for some quick disclosure, I do not get great wear time on my dominant hand. This is the hand that does all of the work around the house. If there's work to be done, this hand is doing it. So like if I can get 2 days with no chips, no tip wear on this hand, I call that a win. And in my experience with wearing the lock up base coat, I've been getting like 3 days of being pretty dang good. So I misplaced the bottles, so I can't just whip the bottles out and show you. The base coats and top coats from ILNP, they do feature a really nice paddle shaped brush. So yeah, I do think the brushes on the base coat and top coat is honestly superior to their regular brush. Really wish that they would swap brushes. Like if I can't have a paddle brush, the shape of the normal polishes brush that they use, that's like my second go-to kind of brush style. So not mad at it, but could be improved. So yeah, really good wear time with the base coat I'm finding, but again, I'm not the girl to have, 2 weeks wear time on one hand anymore. Before I started doing things with my hands, I used to be able to get well over a week of wear time on this hand, but those days are long since past and I'll take my 2 days. As far as the glossy top coat goes, I found that dries down really quickly, really shiny, and it has kind of more of a, I'm gonna say a hard shell dry finish. It doesn't feel too soft. I find with some top coats, it doesn't dry down as hard as I want, and I want it to be like hard.
That's what she said.
Looking at the ingredients list for the top coat, this one does look like it's also 5 free. For the frosted glass matte top coat, I generally only use matte top coat when I'm swatching because like I like me a glossy finish. However, I have been playing around with it for some swatches and I'll be popping up pictures here. It has a really nice matte finish. I was very impressed with it. In general, when I have a matte finish for a top coat, I will use my quick dry top coat first and then the matte top coat. So if you're one of those people who want to skip that step, I can't tell you how this will perform for you. But in the combination of using it both with the ILNP top coat, I also played around with it with the Salon Perfect top coat and the KB Shimmer top top coats, which are two of my go-to top coats at the moment, and I found this performed well with those top coats as well. It's not an instantaneous matte finish. I find for some matte top coats, sometimes they're like turning matte as you're applying the polish. For this one, I did not have that experience at all. So it does take a little bit longer to mattify than my current go-to matte top coat for swatching, but it wasn't so much longer that I was frustrated and just like, I'm over it, I'm done. If you are in the market for a new top coat or base coat, I do like these ones a lot. The top coats and base coat from ILNP are also priced at $10. So I would love to know what everyone else thought of this release. Planning on picking up, y'all know the drill, let me know because I'm always so curious what people think. Something that someone brought up to me in a live stream recently, this entire time I had thought that Holo Taco and ILNP had the exact same bottle. They do not. I was wrong. So here is a Holo Taco bottle next to an ILNP bottle. ILNP has like this cute little foot on the bottom of their bottle, kind of like a foot on a macaron. Hopefully that little macaron foot is showing up for you all. And the Holo Taco bottle is just slightly taller, but these are both 12 ml bottles. Before we end today's video, I want to give a very special shout out to my channel members, Shenanigans. Thank you guys so very much for the love and support. Names, of course, all on the screen right now. If you would like to sign up for my channel memberships, I have a link for that down in the description box. But you know, as always, please do not feel pressured. Just like the video, comment, share, subscribe, all the things, and seriously, we are good. So just thank you all for joining me for today's video. If you enjoy ILNP polishes and would like to see more of them, let me know down in the comment section. I hope everyone has a fantastic week, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. I ain't looking at the clock, still ballin' like Brian. Yeah, I'm headed to the Bucks, then I'm ballin' like yeah.